How goes it, everybody? My name is Jason Zink. I'm a writer, director, best known for the film Straight Edge Kegger, which you can find on Shudder right now. And yeah, I'm here to show off some tapes. Thanks for having me. I live in Lafayette, Indiana. I was born in Northwest Indiana, but I live in this old Victorian house that, if you've seen the movie, there's graffiti all over the walls, and that's what I wrote the film to the house. So like when you see that movie, like every room in the house, that's real. And I just recently bought it, which is why I was able to finally build some shelves, which has made me descend into madness and become even further addicted in VHS collecting. I've become surrounded. It's terrible. I started collecting tapes when I was just a kid. You know, I went to it was this weird like washer and dryer seller, I don't know, like refurbisher seller that was across the street from my friend's house. And we went over there one time. We'd always go rent tapes, and they had these cool like keychain hook things. So you just like, you'd see the tape and you'd pull that off, and that always stuck with me. And I was like fascinated by all the covers. And one day we went over there and they had a rack outside of tapes for sale. I had never seen it, but I picked up Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, and yeah, that's kind of what kicked it all off. But I took years off of collecting, partially because I just didn't want to move it around. I didn't really know that anybody still had these things. Yeah, I got rid of a lot of my tapes a long time ago, and I'm very sad about it now, and I would have saved a lot of money and energy if I wouldn't have done that. But you live and you learn, right? So yeah, I took years off of collecting. Every once in a while I'd still pick something up if I saw something cool. I found like Prom Night 2 at some gas station when a video store down the street had closed down, so I picked that up for like $2. I did stuff like that. I really wasn't collecting heavily for years, and then the pandemic hit and I was stuck inside. I was just bored, and I started building shelves. I started collecting more, and like I said, it turned into kind of an addiction I haven't been able to wean myself off of yet, so it just continues to grow. I'm surrounded. You know, a lot of people talk about the nostalgia, and that's definitely a thing for me. I was born in '88. I grew up at the video store. My mom is the sweetest woman alive, and even though she didn't know what was on the tapes, she would let me rent all sorts of crazy shit. I just remember being obsessed with Sleepaway Camp Part 2. I still am. I love that movie. And just the covers just like blew my mind when I was a kid, and I was just really excited about it. So that's kind of what started it. But like, because I'm a filmmaker and I'm obsessed with movies, and specifically horror movies, like it helps me to feel closer to the films that I love. So I feel closer to the films having these things on my shelves, but also I grew up such a horror nerd, and I thought that like there was nothing left to discover. And then when I got involved with like the groups and I got more into collecting, like I realized that there's still so much stuff, especially the shot on video stuff, that I just had never seen, that I didn't know about. And some of those movies have turned into my favorite horror flicks. So that's a big part of why I like collecting. What a question. It's hard. I don't know, probably 600? I think maybe that's about right, because like I obviously have all these shelves, you can't even see everything. I have another rack right over there, and I have these big like hunter's totes that are just filled with stuff. But I've been trying to like offload a bunch of stuff that I don't care about that much. I got a buddy of mine hooked on collecting as well, so like when I can cut him a big deal, like he'll give me $100 and I'll give him like $500 worth of tapes or whatever it would be. Just, you know, trying to help him out, trying to clear my shelves so I can make room for the things that I really hold dear. One of my most prized tapes is certainly not the rarest. It is this Drew Barrymore variation of Scream, and the reason this one's so important to me, I have an unwrapped copy. I have this really cool collector's edition that I found at a resale shop. Oh, I'm actually probably gonna talk about this later too, but for like $3 that has like a phone card in it and stuff. I love this thing. I would never sell this thing in a million years. But the reason I keep this one that's more beat up on my shelf is because when I was a kid and I got really obsessed with this movie, I asked my mom to buy it for me. So she bought it for me for Christmas. I'm saying this wrong. I didn't ask her. So instead what happened was, at our local family video I would have her rent it at least every week, if not multiple times a week. And so my mom bought it for me for Christmas, and I kept screwing up her plan. She had already wrapped it, and then I'd ask for her to rent it again, and she didn't want to ruin a Christmas gift for me. So she would unwrap it, pretend that she had rented it. She would put it in a clear rental case, and then she would rewrap it. And she did this multiple times for me before Christmas hit. So thank you, Mom. She won't watch this shit, but thank you, Mom. I love you. You're part of the reason I make movies, and I will never get rid of this tape because you did that for me. So thanks, Mom. Another prized tape. This copy of Microwave Massacre is kind of a big deal for me because when I started collecting again, I got really lucky and found a guy who was selling a bunch of tapes, and like neither one of us were well versed in what the prices were, what the market was, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I got tapes at a pretty good deal, and I wasn't trying to rip him off, and we were both just kind of guesstimating what things would be worth. So I got it for a steal. But then the other thing is when I got all the tapes from him, he didn't realize that they were moldy. So like almost all these rare tapes that I got from him had mold damage, and I taught myself how to fix tapes with this tape, and I saved it, brought it back from the dead, and it plays like a champ. So I love this tape, and I'd never get rid of it anyway because I love Microwave Massacre so much. But yeah, this means a lot to me because it's a part of what got me really going crazy on collecting. So I think I'll leave it there. There's a lot of tapes that I cherish, so I don't. What is my rarest tape? What are my rarest tapes? I've seen people talk about how that's subjective. Totally get it, and I agree. But I guess I'm going back to Microwave Massacre, man. So one of my rarest tapes has got to be the Rhino release of Microwave Massacre. I love this tape. I really am a nerd for gimmick boxes. It's pathetic how much I love them. But I was looking for this tape. This was like my #1 grail. Like, I was so stoked, and I kept doing the eBay saved alert thing, and I finally found one that was reasonably priced. It was still a little expensive. I think I spent like $100 on it, but the gimmick didn't work. So I got it from him. I took it to this place called Batteries Plus, and I asked if they could fix it, and I got it fixed for $8. The guy was super nice. He was really excited about it. Like, I was like, "Are you sure $8? Like, you just saved my ass, man." And he was really nice. He was just like, "No, like, this is a cool thing. I don't normally get to tinker with these." So I'm so grateful to him. I am so excited about that tape, and I don't think you can pry it from my cold dead hands. But it's pretty rare. I haven't seen another one of those pop up. I've seen some cut boxes and stuff that doesn't work, so that's gotta be one. Another one of the rare tapes, Sledgehammer. And this is another one that I had never heard of this movie. I got lucky to find a guy who was down to let this go for dirt cheap. Like, I'm so excited about this, but I didn't realize how hard to find it was and how cool it really was. So yeah, now it's one of my prized tapes. You can't have it. I already told you that Microwave Massacre Rhino was like a big deal to me. So stoked on that. I have some cut boxes that I would really like to upgrade. And I'm like super grateful to have these tapes still. But, I got a cut box of Video Violence 2. I have a cut box up there of Demons. Those are important to me to at some point upgrade, but I got Video Violence 1 and 2 for $50 a pop, so I count myself very lucky. I am very proud to have these on my shelf. Cannibal Campout, that's a big one. I'm trying to think of my search list. So I have those cut boxes I'm looking for, like Demons, Video Violence 2, My Bloody Valentine, not in the cut box. Still need Friday the 13th Part 6. I don't know why that's... Or no, sorry. I can't even talk right now. I need Halloween 6. The Curse of Michael Myers. It's the only one I don't have in the whole series. My favorite part of the tape community. What's my favorite part of the tape community? So #1 is you know, the friendship, and like people for the most part are really supportive. I've gotten a lot of cool tapes from people, and people have just been really nice, and like I've even found myself just being a little bit more considerate. Like recently a girl posted like looking for Nickelodeon tapes, and I saw one at the thrift store, so I picked it up and sent it to her basically for the price of shipping, you know, just to help out. And I really like that. I value that. I think we all do. There are a few bad apples, but I find that those people don't stick around too awful long. And I think it's weird that they're even there in the first place, because like most of us have been doing this for a long time, even if we took a break. Like I can't imagine, like when I'm stressed about money, I go donate blood plasma. I don't sell tapes. I have gotten close. I've been strapped for cash and been like, man, I could really offload a few of these tapes right now and pay back that money, but I try my hardest not to do something like that, because it's like, these bring me joy, and also once I get rid of it, like I might not be able to get it back anytime soon. So yeah, that's important to me. I love the sarcasm. Like some people are so funny in the groups. Like it's rare that that people just make me laugh through social media. I'm not a big social media guy, and like I'm attached to a lot of different groups, but I don't go to most of them. Planet VHS Horror, shout out to all those guys and girls, because I love it. I go there every time I get an alert, sometimes multiple times a day when I don't get an alert, and I just laugh at what people are saying and what they're sharing. I love seeing you know what the other thing is? I love seeing the things that people collect, because I'm so obsessed with like horror, and I'm trying to just stick with horror, because if I just made it all my favorite movies, I'd be buried. Like I already kind of am, but if it was everything I wanted, it'd be awful. Horror is manageable. It's also my favorite genre. But I love when I see somebody posting like, I don't know, their wrestling tapes, or even like some people are now collecting, you know, people's convention copies that are from a certain company like Lunch Meat or Witter or whatever. I just think it's really cool that people have their specific things, and especially when it's something I don't necessarily appreciate as much myself. When like the spines, like the key video spines, they look beautiful, but like to me, that's not as important as the covers or movies that I really love. So I think it's really cool when I see somebody, you know, organize all their keys or their medias or whatever. Like that's really cool to me. I think it's still gotta be, I mean, there's some cool stuff I found, but like, I've just never seen this. I have seen people post the audio commentary, VHS and stuff, but I just haven't seen anybody post this. And I found this years ago, you know? It's so funny because at the time, it was like $2.99 at some really terrible thrift shop. And at the time I was like, oh, I don't know if I should get it. And now it's one of my favorite tapes in the whole world, but it comes with this weird like fake cell phone that sits in the front. Where is it? And this is one of the things I really like about it. It comes with this Scream phone card. I have no idea if I could still use it. I'm gonna guess not, but I love this thing. I think it's so cool. So yeah, that's probably the coolest thing I've found out in the wild. You know, I've hunted hard. Like just yesterday, I went to Indianapolis and drove around. I went to like 12 different shops, Goodwills, indoor thrift stores, record shops. I spent 4 hours. I only found 4 tapes, and they were nothing special. I got them for $0.25 a piece, but it's like The Grudge, and like sometimes they come back again, and you know. So I have a hard time out in the wild. Oh, you know what? Okay. I went to Vegas a few years back, and I went to a record shop that advertised they had VHS tapes, but I walked in and there was nothing. So I asked the guy behind the counter, like, hey, I saw on Google you had VHS tapes. You got anything? He's like, oh, I guess we have some boxes in the back if you want to go dig them out. So I went under one of the shelves, pulled out these boxes that were beat up, and I got so many tapes. And I'm so mad at myself now because I wasn't as heavy into it. I was like, oh, I don't want to take these back on the plane with me. I should have just boxed them up, bought them all, shipped them back. I mean, it was thousands of dollars worth of tapes now, and it's a bummer. But out of the, you know, I brought home Return of the Living Dead, and it was the Thorn release. I got that Demons cut, a lot of cut boxes. So I got Demons, I got Monkey Shines, My Bloody Valentine. I don't remember, like another like 6 tapes or so. And I got them for dirt cheap. So that was the coolest. That was like a honey hole, and probably the only one I've ever found or ever will find like that. So that was rad. I value that experience. The kind of tapes that I mainly collect are pretty obviously horror. Luckily, I don't care about wrestling tapes or action tapes. I know there's like a hot market for that. And then I just have some other stuff that I like from my childhood. I like the Todd Solondz movies like Happiness and Storytelling. You know, I really, really care about my Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years VHS. I got some skate videos from my youth, you know, like Zero, Misled Youth, Birdhouse is the End. Like, I like that kind of stuff for sure. I just don't want to spend a lot of money on it because, like I said, I'm already kind of overwhelmed on the horror. Something that's really nerdy and maybe a little pervy. I feel so bad even admitting this. I hope my mom really doesn't ever watch this. I started collecting horror and like movie parody porn VHS just for the spines because they're so funny to me. So like I won't spend a lot of money on them, like I said, because I'm not gonna watch them. They just sit there and look funny. So I just got like Buns and Roses and Taylor Wayne's World. What else? Demolition Woman. You know, Tales from the Backside. We had the idea that like I have these family video shelves. Maybe I'll take a video down in my creepy basement of those, but I got 4 family video shelves that I still don't have set up anywhere. But the idea was at some point I'd replicate a video store of some kind, and I would have a little porn section. So I thought I don't want to just have a bunch of random porn. I thought it'd be like funny to have parody porn titles. So if I could find those cheap, if you got some of those, hook a guy up. I've watched a lot of these videos on this channel, and a lot of people don't trade much, and I'm so happy to tell you that I at least have one really good trade, because I also don't trade much. I will give tapes away, I will sell them for cheap, I will sell a big stack, you know, for a cheap amount of money, and then, you know, that kind of stuff. But I have a hard time with the trades just because I don't know enough, I think, and I need to educate myself a little bit better. But also, a lot of these tapes I just don't want to get rid of. Like, I feel bad when somebody says trade only, or they ask me like, you have a rad tape, I want to trade with you. But if they have a rad tape and they want to trade with me, and they're like, what do you have to trade? And I'm like, dude, like Predator, Jaws, like I don't want to trade video violence, you know what I mean? So I have a hard time. I'm trying to build up my trade stack of like decent stuff so that when people ask, I actually have stuff to trade. But it's kind of hard to spend money, especially on like eBay prices and stuff. It's kind of hard to spend money on a tape you already have, anticipating that one day somebody's gonna want to trade you. So the trade that I think is good. Again, sorry for getting up so fucking much. Okay, so in the early days of me collecting hardcore, I got very lucky. I didn't realize how lucky, so some people might really judge me about this trade, and that's fine. I got a copy of Mama's Home, and it was real clean. Like, it was actually one of the ones in that group that was moldy tapes, and it was not moldy. And I had no idea how rare that tape was. So I posted a stack just saying like, look at all the cool stuff I got, and some people really wanted it. And my logic at the time was like, this guy seems to really want it. He's a very nice guy, no shade here, but I thought, this guy really wants it. Let me do my part by helping out a guy in the community, and I'll get some cool tapes. You know, I only spent 30 bucks on Mama's Home, so it's fine for me to get some tapes I like better. Because Mama's Home is a turd. It's not a good movie. It's a difficult watch. Love the director, hate the movie, love the cover. So this is Mama's Home. This is not a cut box. This is a convention copy, a bootleg that I made myself because it makes me feel a little bit better that I traded away the tape that's so rare. But I traded with a guy in Planet VHS Horror, and I got 3 tapes. So I think for 30 bucks, this was well worth it, even though I now wonder what Mama's Home would have been worth. So I got Blood Lake. Terrible, terrible movie, but it's a lot of fun. I really like watching bad horror with my friends more than I like watching good horror with my friends. So that's one. This is a movie I've always loved. I was pretty excited. It's a little faded, but Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama. I was very excited to get this one off of him. And then the bigger one that I think actually probably made it somewhat worth the trade is this copy of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Sorry about the reflection. And it's funny, at first when I saw this cover, I was like, that's not the cover that I like, but I like really like gaudy, campy things, no pun intended. And so this, now that I have it and I like hold it in my possession, I love it so much and I think it's hilarious. So yeah, I love this. I'll still hopefully at some point pick up the other copy of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. But yeah, so my biggest trade, the best trade, Mama's Home for those 3 tapes. And like I said, some people may judge me and say I screwed up. I don't know. I've never seen another copy of Mama's Home pop up, so I have no idea if it's gonna go for $5,000 or $200. No idea. So yeah, that's the thing. So like I said, I got those 4 tapes yesterday that are not all that special. And I have a couple tapes coming in the mail. I feel like that's always coming. Like I said, I've become addicted. I got the Witter, the Holliston Christmas special on the way. I'm very excited about that. So some other stuff I've gotten recently. I got a whole stack from a guy off Mercari that I'm pretty excited about, especially when I started collecting heavily. I got a copy of Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, and it was the first tape that I ordered where somebody packed it terribly and it showed up just destroyed. It was so sad, man, but got my money back, but it's fine. So I got Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. I got Blades, which I still have never seen, and I'm very excited to watch because it looks god-awful. And Cellar Dweller, which I've actually been looking for a while, and I think it's a pretty clean copy, so I'm pretty excited. There's a hair stuck to it. But that's not my hair. That's from the cellar. So maybe it's worth extra money now. Do I remember the first tape I ever owned? No. But like I said, that Friday the 13th Part 6 is one of the earlier ones that I held dear. Same thing goes for that copy of Scream that my mom got me. I remember some tapes that at some point we were filming at my house, and one of the actors was a VHS collector, wonderful person, but at the time they were just sitting in a milk crate and they were collecting dust, and he wasn't getting paid. He was just helping because we shot like a mock trailer for the film, and he said, hey, since you're not paying me, you want to give me those tapes in the milk crate? And it was like Texas Chainsaw 2, Mother's Day, man, I can't even remember what else, but those definitely, Town That Dreaded Sundown and a few others. And I felt guilty, and so I said, yeah, sure, take them. And I kind of regretted that later on when I started collecting again, but hey, he helped for free, so it's the least I could do. He deserved more than that to help us out. So yeah, those are some of the first ones that I owned that went away. At a certain point, like when I went to college, and I brought some VHS, but I didn't want to schlep all that stuff back and forth. So I told my mom, go right ahead, sell whatever you want. And she got rid of so much stuff for dirt cheap. She probably sold them at like $1 a piece at her garage sales. And that's my fault. I should have held on to that stuff dearly, but you live and you learn, right? Oh, and I just answered if I still owned it. So there you go. Okay, what else can I talk about? So something I haven't talked about yet is, I wanted to do something fun during the pandemic. I had toured Straight Edge Kegger around the country, and I was kind of sick of like working really hard on a big project like that, and I was obsessed with VHS collecting, so I thought, how can I turn that into something entertaining? So we shot this short film called Tapehead. I made these VHS covers, and it's one of the things that got me designing again. So, I just designed a cover for the loved ones. I just figured out how to, design and print the VHS labels, the stickers that go on the front. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I guess that's something else that I really cherish about this whole thing about collecting is like, it's just something that like brings me joy, that like, I get stressed a lot of times about the movies and like my future in filmmaking and whatever. And that short was like, it was just fun. It was just a good time with good people. And we haven't gotten to release it like to the world. Like we're touring it again. We're putting it out at film festivals. I'm going to Atlanta in a couple weeks to show it. And I'm really happy that people are liking it. But I'm so anxious to share it with you folks. You know, that's how I got on this episode. Is I just was watching VHSurfer on YouTube, and I sent him a message, just like sent you a message saying, hey, I think you really dig this short, and I didn't think that I was deserving to be on this channel because I see so many great collections and people are so funny, you know, and but I don't know, I guess I feel like I've kind of found my own, and I guess I have managed to collect some cool tapes with the help of all you guys out there. So so I love what you're doing. I hope you enjoyed this episode, this video. If it gets posted, maybe it sucks and he deletes it, I don't know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to reach out to me. Unlike a lot of people on here, I'm not very active on Instagram. We have a Weird on Top Pictures Instagram, but you can find me more on Facebook. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from everybody and seeing all your snarky comments about what I'm doing wrong in the community. Thanks, guys. Take care.